everyone. Today we are going to be doing these beautiful little houses which I've started painting. I did actually make these quite a few weeks ago. Aren't they cute? So these are going to be a coaster or a magnet. I don't know, you can use them for either, can't you? But anyway, I thought they were very sweet, and it's just got a bit of a lace design, so then I'm hand painting within the design. Now some people would just glaze them. I actually quite enjoy the process of painting. So I thought while I paint this, I'm going to have a talk with you about my kiln and how much of a headache this has been. But look, hopefully, my fingers are crossed, it's going to be good soon. Look, I've got to laugh because if I don't, I'm going to cry. It's so frustrating. So for me, it was a lot of money to get even a second-hand one. It was still $2,000 to find a second-hand kiln, which I got that. We got it here. It took so many people because the kiln weighs around about 200 kilograms. So I don't know what that is in pound, but anyway, it's a lot. So, and like I said, I'm going to paint while we're talking. So anyway, got the kiln here. That was, to get it out of the car took 2.5 days or something because my son couldn't help. And then my husband, myself, and my other 2 daughters had to get it out. So we kind of had to rig up something to, sort of like a trolley, to sort of half slip it on the trolley through the door. We backed the van up within like a foot from the door. And luckily for me, we put it in the studio, and the studio is like right near the street. So not too far, on our property, obviously, but not too far. So anyway, finally got it in. I was so excited, cleaned it and everything else, and then I noticed one of the elements was snapped. And the elements, if you don't know, basically the thing that heats the kiln up, and they're like little spiral metal things that go all along the edge. So then I thought, okay, I'll go down the avenue of talking to somebody about getting a new one, or how I get a new one. Then when I went on a few websites and Googled, they were like $1,000 for a heating element. And I was like, wow. Anyway, I rang several people up, and generally that's just the price. And I know you don't have to replace them very often. It's, not often at all. Here we go. There's this one while we're talking. And we're just going to slowly. I've got kind of a whole list of them just below here. And inside the box is where I kept them. That's why they're sort of sitting in a box. But I will take them out so that we can paint them as we go along. So anyway, after I contacted somebody, then they don't open on weekends, of course, do they? So then I couldn't get any information. Then the next step was today, which is Monday. I thought, okay, I've got to go and get more information. So then I contact him. So then he wants to know the exact measurements of the wire of the wire, the spiral thing. So anyway, I try and measure it. I have no idea what I'm doing. So my husband, luckily or unluckily, but he has the flu, so he's home from work. Anyway, he said, got this special tool, and it was 1.15 millimeters. So that's how small the coils are. But there's 2 lots of coils, and they kind of wrap around, then go in the back of the machine. Then they came back and said, we need the coding off the machine, because each machine has a code, which, is kind of like its safety and tells you how many volts it has and so on. I give them that information. Then they want me to draw a picture of the electrical side. And I'm thinking, imagine if you're a person that knows nothing about this. How do you even get one? And then because the machine I've got is second-hand, well, it's older. So then, of course, nobody really has information on it. And the company that made mine, they've been taken over by another company. So they don't even make that one anymore. They make one that's pretty much the same. And my local ceramics walkers, they said it is pretty much this machine. It's just, it will have a different name and everything on it because of the other company taking them over. So, yeah. So anyway, the end of the story was, after I got back all the information, he said, oh, well, now we actually don't have that in stock. We actually make them. And I was like, oh no. I'm thinking, come on, I just want to get this kiln fired. I just want to see that it's even working. And seriously, it's absolute money pit. Now I know why people charge so much when they charge you for, like the kiln service, because they have to replace these elements every couple of years. So depending on how much you fire and how much you don't. So basically each element will last roughly about 200 fires. And, if you're doing these firing, then of course, you're going to fire it more if you're firing other people's pieces as well as your own. So anyway, that's why they charge basically, I think it's about $13 a kilo to fire it. But it does end up quite expensive, obviously. And to buy a kiln is really expensive. So sometimes I'm like, wow, maybe I should have just kept doing it the way I was doing it. But the problem with it is you're kind of like depending on someone else, waiting on them to fire it. And then, of course, things can get broken travelling back and forward, although I've only had a couple breaks, so I can't complain. But yeah, seriously, that's kind of what I thought. But for me, each time I get it fired, sometimes it's taking 4 weeks or 6 weeks to get it back. So it was driving me crazy, to be really honest with you. So that's why I was like, I just have to get even a cheap second-hand one. And when I say cheap, this was cheap, $2,000. But, of course, then, Anyway, but once it's done, I'm thinking it's going to be good. And, of course, I can fit several shelves in this one. So after I fit all of the shelves inside, I'll be able to fire bigger amounts than the small one I was originally going to buy, which I honestly could only put sort of 4 mugs in. And I thought, is that even worth it? Maybe that's going to be more expensive. So anyway, so that's where we're up to. So I've just got a message back, and he said he can do it. He can have it back to me tomorrow afternoon, and it's roughly $1,000. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to pay that, aren't I? And I forgot to do this top corner here. So yeah, actually I can see the light isn't that good because the sun's kind of shining, but I'm hoping that once I do this video, I can edit it and lighten it up a little bit so that you can see. But I just thought it'd be nice to have a little chat video to tell you what's been happening. But anyway, I said to my husband, I'm going to have a full-on little girl tantrum in a minute, if this does not come together, because I'm sick of it. And everyone in my house has the flu because we minded our little grandson Charlie, and Charlie had the flu, like he had a cold. So thank you, little Charlie, who's won. He's given all of us his cold. So yes, my husband took the day off work, and I thought, look, I'm just going to paint all of these because then they're just going to sit here a little bit longer, and you want them as dry as you can before they go in the kiln anyway. But even once I get these elements, once the elements are then put into the kiln, because that takes work to put them in, then because it's an older kiln, I have to get this thing which is called kiln cement, and the kiln cement will, any cracks or whatever, then I just have to sort of seal them up. And and so then once that happens, that has to dry. Then it has to go through a firing just to make sure that the elements are working. So like an 8-hour element firing. Then it's got to cool down. Then I can reload it. So I don't think this kiln, to be honest, I'm going to be shocked if it's even up and going this week. And which I'm a bit devastated because I do have another market this Sunday, so I'll be adding cows this Sunday because last Sunday was cancelled due to the weather, which in a way was kind of good because for me it was good because, I didn't have this all fired. I mean, I've still got things to sell, but I really want my little penguins and my little coasters and all these cute things I've been making. I want them up and going. And the lady who fires my things, she does have some mugs and stuff with her, but she said she's gone away on holiday, so I'm not going to get them back for another 2 weeks. So, yeah, and it's not her fault. I mean, you know, that's the price you pay when you're using somebody else's service. You just honestly just have to wait. And I've seen lots of stories of people saying they're waiting 2 or 3 months to get something back. So, which kind of is a bit unfair, isn't it? If you're waiting that long, it's a bit, you know. But then I guess maybe you do need your own kiln if you're planning on doing this for a job or even doing markets. I do think you need it. And yeah, in all the markets I do, I am going to do a little bit of a market day kind of video for you. So hopefully I can get these videos coming each week. At the moment it's sporadic because this little channel is new. But yeah, so that's basically what's happening, my loves. And I do actually make soap for a living. So soap is my main job. I sell it to a lot of touristy places. And anyway, the cost of butters and stuff has just gone to be outrageous. So I need a new option here. And if I'm honest, it actually sold better at a market than soap would have. So you know, but I can also make things in ceramics that match as well, match like my soaping as well, and I can sell them. So I have actually made some wax melters machines, but of course, when I say machines, sorry, they're not machines, they're little ceramic wax melters. And then I'm really excited to see how they are going to go. But of course, they're going to be fired, and I've got to wait once again for the kiln to be fixed and for the kiln to get up and running. So yeah, so it has been a little bit of a nightmare, friends. It really and truly has. So that's my week. But I have been doing some fun stuff. So here, which I'll show you at the end of the video, we'll go into the studio and I'll actually show you some stuff that I've been making. This is actually a reclaimed clay. So you can see kind of a grey streak because I did have grey and white. But I thought, look, if that grey streak comes through, I don't care. It still looks really pretty and amazing. And I'm sorry if you can hear that annoying swirling noise in the background, but my dryer is on to try and dry my daughter's clothes because my daughter works at KFC. So anyway, so her clothes are drying in there so they can be nice and dry and ready for her shift later on tonight. She's not sick. Actually, that daughter's not sick, but everyone else is, which is funny. She seemed to have missed the illness. And I'm not as sick as my husband and my older daughter that lives at home, because I only have 2 daughters at home now, even though I have 7 children. The others have all bought their own homes and they live on their own. So anyway, so if you want to come and see me out this weekend, come and see me at Cowes, which is along the coast for people in other countries. It's along the coast of Melbourne. And where that is, basically, they have really big, massive tourist centre, and it's where tiny little baby penguins, they're called fairy penguins, they come in off the ocean at night, each night, at around the same time, and they have like little burrows and little houses that are made for them, and those houses are made and they are so adorable. And yeah, but you're not allowed to take photos because it shocks them and they don't remember their way back home through the ocean, so you can't take photos. It kind of does something to their memory of getting home. But yeah, so that's why I'm doing lots of little penguin things. And I've decided that I've changed my logo a little bit, so my logo has a penguin on it now. And the reason is I always wanted to live by the sea, but seriously, I can't afford it. It's so expensive in Australia. Live near the sea, you need well over $1 million. $1 million wouldn't even get you anything. Get you maybe a shed, a shed near the sea, because it's very expensive to live near the sea in Australia. A lot of the houses are, several $1 million here to live along the coastline. So yeah. Anyway, so that's it for that. I'm going to keep painting, but I will, on top of the video, I'm going to add a little bit in the studios to show you what I've been making. So I have finished painting these, everyone. Don't they look so adorable? So now we're just going to leave them for a few days. Hopefully the kiln that we were talking about earlier will be hopefully ready with its elements so that we can get it going and see exactly what we can do. These ones, fire them up and then of course glaze them. But anyway, after a few hours of painting, I am finished. We'll put these on the shelf ready to go in the kiln.